we always understand that if we are in the association of devotees, if somehow in our day-to-day life we are able to hear the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, then that itself is great fortune. The nature of this world is such that it is so very well designed in a way that no matter who you are, where you are, you always have your anti or a counterpart which is totally diametrically opposite to you in terms of experience. So when you want some certain good things in a certain manner, there is something always destined for you not to happen. And as most of the devotees whom I see here are going to be on the walls in next 50 years. So, or maybe in 25, 30 years, except Vallabh is the only younger guy. So, considering this short span of life and the infinite, never-ending desires and expectations, it is so mysterious when you read every single prayer which comes in the Srimad Bhagavatam. See, every species of life is very content in that sense that it is designed in a way that it knows that this is what I can do, and it knows very well. Let's say if I am a snake, I know very well whom I am supposed to hunt, and I know very well who can hunt me. If I am a lizard, I know whom I have to attack and nourish myself, and I know who is going to hunt me. Instinctively, every single species has this feature, and they have no confusion whatsoever. But as soon as that same living entity, when it transmigrates through all those species very well in order of understanding, and it is gifted the human form of life, suddenly all these barriers disappear. The emotional state of a person is such that it has no limitation whatsoever. So, I was recollecting this once. One of my very good friends and myself, we had joined the temple together about 24 years ago. So at that time, in one program, my mother had also come and my friend's mother had also come. And both of them did not know each other. But after talking to each other, they somehow came to know, oh, his son is so and so. And he has joined temple. And this person, means I used to go to his home and do some programs. So his mother had this feeling that I snatched away her son. So she came to my mother, talking, oh, you are the mother of that person who took away my son. And my mother then was introduced that, oh, she is the mother of this friend of your son. And my mother was told, she knew that this friend of mine, he had 3 other brothers, so they were 4. And I am the only son of my mother. So, in the discussion, after 2 minutes of hi, how are you, whatever they said, the next question was, does your son come home? So he said, yeah, he comes sometimes. Then that person's mother said to my mother, but whatever has happened is not good. So my mother said, you have at least 4 sons. She said, so what? When I got to know about this discussion, what I was thinking was, no matter what your situation is, no matter what your opulence is, no matter what your facility is, when you are hurt by one particular thing in life, that takes over your entire existence. For you to become absolutely miserable, you just need one equation getting wrong. You don't need 100 things going wrong. And for that matter, just like every single species has someone or some other species which are designed to destroy them, same thing is there for all of us also. In the human form of life, the only thing the scriptures try to tell us is that you voluntarily understand this. It should not be forced upon you. You have the intelligence. Try to understand that some things in life you cannot sort it out. You have to accept it. Some things are meant to be engaged and dealt with. Some things you have to fight it out, and some things you have to just accept it. But the state of mind, the state of human consciousness is such that no, I cannot accept, no matter what it is. And we relentlessly, emotionally also, intellectually we may accept certain situations, but emotionally we cannot. And that is why human being is always either stuck into the ideas of the future or of the past. Something better will happen in the future, or why this thing has happened in the past. For a human being, it is very, very difficult to be in the present moment. Extremely difficult. And therefore, every single act, every single talk which they engage in is just for an anticipated kal acha ho sakta hai, and I am now doing something better for me. So when you read so many such stories, you typically see that if someone had 100,000 wives, then he never had a child. If somebody had children, then his desire was something else. If someone had a lot of wealth, then the desire was something else. So something or the other keeps moving around. Prabhupada writes in the introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a pinprick in the social body at large. Very nicely, pinprick. Means everything is healthy, but you just put one pin. Finished. That destroys your existence. That is how it is. Therefore, in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, when Parikshit Maharaj, who is supposedly the ruler of the world, now the essential part of the world during that time was till the oceans would block the path of India. So let's say till Iran from this and till Singapore and this places. So he was a ruler. But as soon as he got the news of his imminent death, within 7 days he will die, the scriptures do explain that he had enough potency that he could have denied that curse. He could have counteracted it. But he did not. Why? Because in his whatever span of life he had led, he had seen this nature of this world. In his own family he had seen. His family was, his father was Abhimanyu, whose father was Arjuna, whose friend was Krishna, whose brothers were Bhima, Nakul, Sahadev, Yudhishthir. Such a powerful, established, accomplished family. But they had their own set of troubles. So what normal people are aspiring is to have brothers like that, to have a wife like that, or to have a friend like that, and to have a family. I am from the Kuru Vansh. Despite all of that, there was an emotional turmoil to the Pandavas also. Same we see, there was an emotional turmoil to the Kauravas also. There was emotional turmoil to Shakuni also. There was emotional turmoil to Karna also. There was emotional turmoil to Bhishma also. There was emotional turmoil to Dronacharya also. Every single character. So then when you see then who was really happy? Who was living a contentful life? Who was living a meaningful life? Who was living a purposeful life? Think from a critical point. जब आपको अपने जीवन से ही संकोच हो रहा है, when you feel a sense of emptiness or void within one aspect of your emotional life, that void sucks every other little good thing you have in life. You may artificially keep thinking this is better, this is this, this is necessary, but inside it keeps paining all the time. Even when we see the Ramayana also, Ram was in that emotional turmoil, Sita was in the emotional turmoil, Lakshman was in emotional turmoil, Bharat was in emotional turmoil, Sugriv, Vali, everybody was in emotional turmoil. Then who in Ramayana was not in emotional turmoil? Huh? Hanuman. I think so. He seems to be. But essentially when you see every single story is filled with just this one principle. This level of turmoil. So thousands and thousands of years ago, from Satyuga till Kali Yuga, the same story is repeating again and again and again. And we take our own stories too seriously. Those who have lived longer lives, more powerful, more accomplished lives, their lives in the passage of time seem insignificant. And we take our own little things too seriously. Wherein, as I said, within few years, we'll be on the walls, and probably we won't be also on the walls. Because the next generation won't want such photographs also. They'll say, gaya to gaya. I need some other modern art, which nobody understands. But that's what it's going to be. So when Parikshit Maharaj comes, embracing that, let that come upon me. In that spirit. More important is that spirit. Because one who has that spirit is also living life in that spirit. When you are prepared to die, you are actually living. Because you are living to the fullest, you know how to live. When you are running away from death, emotionally, always planning to avoid death, you are running away from the life itself. What an amazing thing. One who embraces death is actually embracing life. One who is running away from death is actually running away from life itself. So Shukdev Goswami is impressed that this person has come with that spirit. And then he says, please you describe the glories of the Lord without any hesitation. What could be the hesitation to Shukdev Goswami? He could have this hesitation, bade Raja hai. And when a big and powerful person, suppose a very big, richest person of Singapore or the Prime Minister comes to hear a class for 1 hour, it is the general etiquette or the general accepted norm also that we feel, thank you so much for coming and sparing your precious time. Isn't it? Most of the programs you go, then the host, even in temple, the devotees will always announce, thank you for sparing your precious time this weekend. You had so many important things to do, but you spared this time for 1 hour of Bhagavatam. This is the kind of, and we have got used to this, that people should be grateful to us that I attended a class or I heard Srimad Bhagavatam in a certain temple. So in the passage of time, see how much change has happened. But that is not the spirit. In the conditioned state of life, we always think that we have so many important things to do. Somehow I will try to spare time for message of Bhagavatam. It is not the reverse way, that the only important thing is this. Somehow I will spare time for other things. That we do not ever do that. I am not recommending that young couples should do that. But different stages of life, we are supposed to prioritize certain things. That spirit is more important. It is not the volume that nobody is expecting that we should be, whenever we are hearing the message, that we should just be without food and water for whatever it is. That's not the spirit. That is the action of Parikshit. That he is saying that don't have any hesitation that I am the king, that I have many other important things to do. Because if you have that hesitation that I have many other things to do and I have come here, you are going to be restricted in your speech. When a big and powerful person comes, it is natural that the speaker also becomes very conscious that I should not speak something which should disappoint this person. So he says, please be unrestricted. Speak the truth as it is, as you would like to speak. Do not consider my situation whatsoever. Me as a king, or I am hungry, or I am thirsty, or anything. I am ready to listen. And that is why he says, Shrotavyadini Rajendra, Nrinam Santi Sahasra, that my dear king, in this mortal world, in this ordinary world of people, those who are devoid of Atma Tattva, means those who have no understanding whatsoever of the soul, they are filled with what? Too many attractive subject matters, always to discuss. Sahasraha. Thousands and thousands and thousands of topics. And all those topics lead to nothing really substantial. That is why he is impressed. Such a powerful king, how many issues he has to deal with? Recently we were dealing with some issue with some temple, and we were seeking some attention of some judges and some lawyers and some police and some ministers and so on. Every single meeting was, thank you so much for sparing your 2 minutes. 3 minutes. In 3 minutes we had to finish a serious conversation of a 30-40-year-old problem. And we had to be grateful also. If somebody gave 7-8 minutes, it was considered like blessing. Why? Because they have too many important things. So this is also acknowledged by Shukdev. That there are actually so many important things. Now who decides what is important or not? It is your emotional state. जहाँ मन लगा होता है वही लगता है कि सबसे important चीज वही है. Even though somebody is sending rockets to the space, your issue is your son has not scored proper marks. Or maybe the food was not satisfactory today. Or maybe the job, the boss chastised. There are little issues. But that becomes the whole world for us. So what is important is only from what our own sensory experiences demand. And the very nature of human being is basically, the very design of this human being is to fight, to evolve. But evolve in what way? See, other species do not try to evolve, try to understand. They only want to live through it. They know these are the 4 items I need to eat. These are the 4 things I need to eat. That's it. There is no question of evolving. A human being tries to evolve. Evolve into what? There is no evolution of the body as such. What can you evolve physically? How much can you evolve? Physically we are only going to degenerate. The true evolution is only of the consciousness. Chetana ki jagruti. That only is the evolution. And when that evolution doesn't happen, you will never ever feel a sense of growth. It is just not possible. That is the only single most struggle which we all have to do always. Therefore, Prabhupada, when he first started preaching in the West, and it is natural once you are preaching and you are speaking philosophy, so people tend to approach you to get some solutions for their immediate problems. It's not in the sense of monetary and this, but how to deal with certain aspects of life. And when Prabhupada was there, he used to see the issues which were there with the people who would come, he saw that there is no end to solving that. Even during those days, when he would speak in many purposes, he says, just like a loving mother, just like a mother cares for the child. Those statements were totally irrelevant in the West. Because it is not natural that mother cares for the child. Now this is a very unnatural thing to hear, right? How mother and child means the mother will always care. But in the West it is not true. I spent almost half a year in New York and I see my entire preaching is different. Because when you say just like a husband and wife, that does not exist. And it is all objectionable. You cannot assume that the husband has to be responsible for the wife. Hare Krishna. You cannot assume the wife has to be responsible towards the husband. You cannot expect the parents are supposed to be responsible for the child. And you cannot expect that the child is supposed to be grateful to the parents. Now speak philosophy. How? When the basic reference points of your life are violated at every step, and then you are told to believe in God, it's a very difficult thing. Growth and evolution of faith always happens with our immediate experiences. So I have a good friend, I have a good relation. That's where I build up to higher things. And then only I can give up the lower things. But if I get compromised at this stage only all the time, and I also behave in such a way that if I am not a good person, why should I get first of all? How can I establish my faith in God? It is impossible. And therefore when such people would come to Prabhupada, who has no sense of what a mother or a father or a brother, everything is, and then he comes that, oh, he's a messenger of God, then they would put absolute faith in him in that sense. Now you solve all my problems. And Prabhupada would, at that age, imagine a 70-year-old person starting an organization at that age, right? Like most of you who are doing some business, you started at a younger age. Right? At 70, we won't exist. Photograph. Sorry, we'll exist as photograph. But at that age, and then he's dealing with people of such a mentality. And therefore, many times Prabhupada would say, just forget all of this, just ignore all of this. Take to the message of Bhagavatam. The idea was not to ignore certain realities of your life. The idea was someone who has no basic sense of these things and who wants to now only work at that level. It is just not possible. And also, no matter what you do, no matter how good you try, it is never enough, it is never satisfactory. And as I said, the world is designed such, the moment you reach at certain stage, you have your counterpart ready. You can keep escaping from one problem to another. It is always ready. Therefore, this urge is always there amongst our acharyas. Take to this message seriously, take to this message seriously, take to this message very seriously. If you can win through certain conditions of your life, good. Don't rely on them. Deha apatya kalatra adishu atma senya shosat swabi. Then Shukadeva Goswami is telling to Parikshit. All the people are discussing only about one subject. My spouse, my family, my kids, my occupational growth, my finances. What new discussion are they going to have? Even within your, you are not Ananta first of all, right? 3 or 4 things we do and we want best in them. That he says, even if you establish things to your own satisfaction, and sometimes you may have estimated when we were in our college, most of us did not have the desire to be billionaires. So we just thought कि एक flat हो जाए, middle class तो आदमी यही सोचता है. I'll have one apartment for myself. I'll go to Singapore or US and I will at least buy one apartment. That's a normal man thinks this way. Many of us who are here have been blessed from wherever situation, whatever was your zero situation from what you are today. You have been blessed that you have enough. But has that brought any greater emotional satisfaction? No. It will never happen. Because the world is designed. It is just one person. So he is saying, Atma Sainyeshu Asatsva. When people they engage in these things, they think that now I am creating some security. That is what we talk, right? When we have a good family, means what is that? Some security. You feel more secure with your own 3 or 4 loved people than being probably, let's say, if you were the Prime Minister of a place or somebody says that now you are the Prime Minister of Singapore and puts you under tight security and all the military taking care of you. But if you do not have your family and friends, do you feel secure? Physically you are more secure, but emotionally you don't feel secure. Emotionally you feel secure with what? Deha. I have a good body. Kalatra. I have a good spouse. Apatya. I have good children. Bas. That brings so much security. And that is what Bhagavatam is saying. And this security, a living entity, unconsciously, subconsciously thinks that these are my Sena, my protectors, my army. कुछ भी होगा, घर एक जगह होगा जहाँ सुख मिलता है. ऐसे सोचता है. तो वो बोलते हैं असत सुख. This is asat. This is a fallible soldiers. Means this is all unreal. Because Shukadeva Goswami is able to see from the perspective of the truth, he is seeing our condition of life, and we are trying to see the truth from our condition of life. So there is going to be some kind of clash here. Even when we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, I am sure in all our different stages of life, after the class, if sometimes Maharajas would talk about some great detachment and loving pastimes, we would say, नहीं अभी थोड़ा practical बात करते हैं. Naveen Prabhu has come, थोड़ा business सीखते कहीं से, get us पैसा कहाँ से. Right? We think like this. Let us do practical. In Mumbai, in India, they say, पापी पेट का सवाल. अभी I met a judge who, for any small thing, his basic charge is 50 crores. Means your case has to be validated. He will not do anything illegal. But in the legal condition of yours, if you want to do things in a certain pace and certain time frame, then 50 CR. He does not take the case otherwise. Then when I was talking to one lawyer, he said, अरे इतना कुछ नहीं है, दूसरा ये वाला जज ये तो 100 करोड़ की मुझे बात ही नहीं कर रहा. And when you meet them personally, they say, थोड़ा चाय पानी का तो खर्चा निकला. 100 करोड़ की चाय. Chai pani, I don't know if you all know about it. In Mumbai they say chai pani. Chai pani means when you just meet each other, you share some drink, right? Say, some chai pani का तो खर्चा निकलना चाहिए. Some drink का. So where does this end? When I meet such people, I just keep thinking it never. Not in a judgmental way. Who am I to judge them? But it also reflects my own consciousness through them. I see that, oh, probably I am also like that in a different way, in some manner. In my own little world, I also have this kind of a thing. The delta is always there. The moment I reach there, suddenly that jump takes me. So therefore, Shukadeva Goswami then assures Parikshit that because you have this spirit, actions can be whatever, it can differ based on your man, woman of Kali Yuga and Singapore, whatever situation. All things can differ. But that spirit, that now I'm ready to face the truth. I want to see my life from the perspective of the truth, not with my